My name's Haiti. I'm a supervisor of ungulates here at Monarto Safari Park. I've been here for 21 years. I've worked with the White Rhino for that whole period, and since I started here, I've had Miss Uhura by my side. She was South Australia's very first Southern White Rhino, so she came here in 2000. She had a lot of one-on-one contact with the keepers, lots of sort of rubs and enrichment, and I guess she built really good relationships with the keepers. She's very much a people rhino, so she loves attention and pats and scratches and rubs. She was here for a couple of years on her own, and then we imported our other 7 Southern White Rhino, and pretty soon she realised that she was a rhino, not a people. And so it was really cool to see her change in behaviour and watch her really come into her own and start to socialise with the rest of the crash. And 2 years after bringing over the 7 from Kruger National Park, she gave birth to our first baby at Monarto Safari Park. So he was very interactive and fun, and he was here for a couple of years, and then he moved off to another institution, and then a few years later she gave birth to our second little boy, and then after that she had a little girl further down the track who is up at Australia Zoo now, hopefully part of their breeding program. She's just been a joy to work with and a great mother, and it's been wonderful to watch her flourish and grow into the mother that she was. Southern White Rhinos are the largest of the 5 remaining rhino species. So you'll usually find that males sit between about 2,000 to 2,500 kilos. Females are a little bit lighter at that 1,500 to 2,000 kilos. And just like people, they all vary in shapes and sizes. So Uhura is actually quite, for lack of a better word, a petite rhino. So when people meet rhino and I use that word, it comes across quite astounding. But compared to some of our other girls, she's got quite a slight frame. So she is a smaller white rhino. So it was really important for us as an organisation to be part of the breeding programs and conservation efforts for Southern White Rhino. They've gone through a few phases over the years where their numbers have dropped really low. They've kind of built back up and then dropped back down due to poaching. So it's just a wonderful species to have on site to highlight the plight of them and help raise awareness and hopefully help conservation efforts. Rhino are poached for their horns. It's thought to have medicinal qualities and, cure cancer. It's made up of the protein keratin, which is the same protein that makes up your hair and fingernails. So basically, like your hair and fingernails, it will continue to grow for the rest of their life, and the rhino will use rocks and logs and branches and fence posts when they want to shape their horn. And so every rhino has a very unique horn to that animal. It's how they protect their calves, it's how they defend territories, and it's how they interact with each other safely. Basically, by consuming rhino horn for medicinal qualities, you may as well go to the hairdresser, pick up the hair off the floor, pop it in your coffee and have a sip of that. So rhino are poached for their horn. They're poached at the rate of roughly 2 a day, so it equates to close to 700 a year. There's estimates are at around about 17,000 in the wild, but they only have 1 calf every 2 or 3 years. So if you're looking at poaching of 700 a year, that's not great numbers for them as a species. So at the park, we have them as an insurance population, so that if poaching continued and we saw the loss of all wild rhino, we have really good strong genetics that we could repopulate with. That's basically our main role here. So they're here so that we can connect people with them and their story. And it's incredible when we do behind the scenes experiences with Uhura, and they see how, comfortable she is with people, how much she loves to be touched. They're incredibly sensitive. So, even if she's got a fly or an ant crawling up her leg, they'll stomp their foot and try and get it off. So you can imagine when you're able to touch and pat in those gorgeous little soft folds of skin, how much people really connect with them. Yeah, I think it's really incredible to see people when they arrive not knowing what to expect of rhino. So, I think a lot of the time they're portrayed as quite aggressive, and so then when people come here and they get the opportunity to get right up close to her and touch her and just really understand how much she loves being in contact with people and they get that appreciation for the size. I think it's really that connection with a species that is quite potentially misunderstood sometimes. So I think going away with a whole different perspective of a species, having met them and feeling a connection, I would hope that when people leave, they want to go off and make a difference and do something to help the species.
Uhura is a very special animal to us, but she is one of the ones that's a little bit different in terms of liking different things. She's a rhino that loves to play in the hose. She'll run through the puddles, she'll have that hose splashing into her back like your animals might do at home, like your dogs. And as well as that, she loves to smash and open big cardboard blocks and different sort of boxes and things like that. She'll smash her horn into those, she'll throw them up in the air, and she'll crush them and get those yummy treats out of them. When I'm selecting enrichment for Southern White Rhino, I'm really thinking about their body. I'm really thinking about that their hearing is their main sense, so as their sense of smell is very important too. So sometimes I will give them things like African bird sounds, I'll give them like waterfall sounds and different sounds that they would naturally have throughout Africa. Another thing I really try to do is hide different things around. I want to keep them mentally stimulated. So I might give them things like molasses, I might hide some different smells like essential oils around and things like that. And we will see different changes in their behaviour, as well as things like moving very large logs. Some of those logs are over 600 kilos in weight that they'll move around. One thing we obviously try to help with, because we know that Southern White Rhino's sight isn't very good, really try to work on those shades of black and white. They can see those colours better. So usually I will get those boxes painted black and white so they can see those and interact with those boxes a little bit easier. Uhura is a rhino that is a little bit different to the others because she's extremely confident. She'll often be the one that will interact with those enrichment items straight away. She loves to do zoomies at times. She'll run through the paddocks, especially when it's just rained, with her phantom Carly, and run around and really enjoy, that rain. Wallows are a really important part of Southern White Rhino's natural behaviour. Here at Monarto Safari Park, we do have multiple clay wallows. They'll coat themselves in that clay. That gives them some protection against the sun, cools them down, as well as gives them some protection against any of those nasty parasite or bugs that try to bite them. Southern White Rhinos are the biggest grazing animal on the planet, so all they eat is grass. They can be grazing from 8 to even potentially up to 12 hours a day, just eating those different grasses around different water sources in different areas. One thing that Southern White Rhinos do, which is probably something you're not going to be thinking of, is act as a lawnmower throughout Africa. And they're going through all these different areas and they're not actually ripping the grass out of the root system, they're just trimming the top. They're doing over that. So they're actually performing sort of maintenance of those grassland areas, as well as fertilizing as well. Obviously those rhinos eat a lot, that means they have to defecate a lot. In terms of their dung, that's a very important part of their natural behaviour. The dung makes up large communication points, which are known as mittons. A rhino in the area will actually go up to those mittens, aid in making those piles bigger by communicating, but then they'll also taste those piles with their mouth. They have hormone receptors in their mouth. That's going to tell them who's been there, if it's male or female, if they're old, sick, young, as well as if it's a female. A male will be able to tell if that female is in season or not.
Uhura will celebrate her 30th birthday next year, yay, which is a big milestone. They generally live for about 45 to 50 years, so she's not a spring chicken, but she's not too old.
Here at Monarto Safari Park, we had 2 experiences people can do to meet Southern White Rhinos like Uhura. You can do a meet the rhinos in the morning and meet the 3 rhino on the Monarto Safari Park side, or you can venture out onto one of the safari trips and do a safari through our Wild Africa section. We have 2 main habitats, the largest one being in Wild Africa, where people can see rhino living alongside giraffe, antelope, ostrich, all different species. And it is a good understanding of seeing how those rhinos mingle with those other species out there.